So I wanted to show you guys my new everyday makeup routine because it's changed quite a bit since I dyed my hair. Like my makeup is so much more warm toned now and I had to change out my eyeliner, eyebrow routine, everything. This is a very chatty get ready with me. So if you want to get ready together, then just keep watching. First, I'm gonna prep my skin. I've been using the Torrid Dive-In line. I love this for skin prep because it's so lightweight. If your skin type is normal to combination, I think you could get away with just serum for skin prep. But for us dry skin girlies, I would recommend just layering it up. Of course, using my Isntree sunscreen. For lip prep, I'm gonna be using the Fenty Beauty lip oil. So one of the things I really hate about having red hair now is that the brows do not match. And I think I finally found a brow routine I like. So first I'm using the Anastasia Brow Wiz in Auburn. This is a very natural, warm brown shade, so it works for red hair. It's really easy to make brows darker, but it's so hard to make them lighter. So I've been using this blonde mascara. I got it in Japan last year because I thought it was a brown mascara, but it ended up being so light. You see how it's getting lighter? It can be a little messy, but you can just clean it up after. And now you can see the difference between my natural brows and this. Also, another good thing about this is because this is a mascara and it dries down rather than like an eyebrow gel that stays wet, you can also use color over top of it. So like eyeshadow or eyeliner. Look at the color match. This versus this. I'm gonna use a Q-tip to clean it up. Also, I posted a TikTok recently talking about this toxic friend that I had in the past, and it was actually shocking to me how many people resonated with that video. Like, so many people had similar stories about toxic, insecure girlfriends. Some of the comments on that video shocked me. Like, nobody can do psychological warfare better than girls in high school. I've never talked about on YouTube before, so I thought today I could share some stories about this toxic ex-friend that I had. And honestly, this girl set a lot of the standards that I now have for friendships. So despite it being such a terrible experience, thank you, I guess. Since my hair is red now, by the way, I've been using red eyeliner instead. I just really like the entire cohesive makeup look. So this is the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in Full Scale Rust. It's the same shade that I used to color in my brows. But anyway, this toxic friend that I had, we first met in middle school and I really looked up to her. Like, she was somebody that I saw as so pretty and perfect. She was smart, got good grades. We had a shared passion in fashion. And I've always loved being friends with girly girls. I mean, like, obviously beauty and fashion and all of that is something that I'm very passionate about. So I love talking about it with people and seeing their different styles. So yeah, through mutual friends, we ended up becoming friends. But as I got closer to her, I realized that she was very insecure. I'm gonna use the Huda Beauty Empowered palette next. This has a lot of really good warm shades. Being insecure in itself is not an issue, right? I have been insecure before. Like, sometimes I still feel insecure, but it becomes an issue when you are tearing down your friends in an effort to make yourself feel better. And this is something that she did constantly. Because I looked up to her, I didn't realize that she could feel insecure, you know? Like, when you see somebody who seemingly has everything, you're like, how could this person ever feel insecure? This girl, by the way, she tried to stop me from starting my YouTube channel, which honestly I was shocked at because, like, I really thought she was gonna be like, oh my god, I'm so excited. But she literally was like, no, there's no space for you on there. But anyway, okay, I'm gonna ask you guys a question and I want you to answer honestly. What would you do if your friend started dating a guy that you said you were interested in? I'm using the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk foundation. This has been my new go-to foundation and it is so good. Like, let me show you. It's a perfect shade match for me. This is in the shade 4, but it's so good for dry skin and doesn't leave any patches. Just a note though, this is a silicone-based foundation. Do you guys see that shade match? Oh my gosh, so good. Anyway, how it started is we hung out in a group of 3, but the other girl had more male friends. She's super into sports, super outgoing, and she was also super smart, like probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. And it was so effortless for her too. Like, I feel like she didn't even need to study that much. Anyway, let's call this girl S, and then we'll call the insecure girl A. I think because S was so well-rounded, A got really jealous of S because she felt like she was taking her spot. I'm also using the Giorgio Armani concealer, by the way, in the same shade 4, when S started saying that she was really interested in this one guy. She was already like friends with his friends. A did not know this guy at all. She had never spoken to him before until S mentioned that she liked him. And immediately she messaged this guy and started talking to him, and they ended up dating, which honestly, I've seen this discourse on TikTok where people are like, is that breaking girl code? Because like, they weren't really dating already. Like, she just had expressed interest, and what if the other friend had already been interested in this guy and just hadn't voiced it? But the difference here is that A had no connection to this guy, right? Like, she clearly had to go out of her way to message him so that she could date him. And it was only after her friend had expressed interest in him. Anyway, this happened 2 more times. where she ended up breaking up with this guy, and then S expresses interest in another guy and she starts dating that guy. And after the third one, S did not really express her feelings often. I feel like she was kind of like the mom of the friend group, so she always had it together. But after it happened for the third time, I asked her like, hey, isn't this kind of weird? Like, how do you feel about it? And she was like, yeah, honestly, it's weird, but like, it's whatever. Like, she wasn't super devastated. It was just a crush, you know? But I think that is when our friendship with A kind of fell apart, and we started noticing all of the red flags like accumulating. If you're wondering if I became a victim of this, I did not, because I was not interested in dating in high school. Honestly, even if I did have a crush, I wouldn't have told her, right? Because look at the way she acts. I guess that wasn't enough like reassurance for her that I wouldn't try to go after any guys or anything, because she started going around speculating about my sexuality to just random guys that I do not know. Actually, she started doing this after there was a guy that she thought was cute, and she got close to him, and he one day told her that he thought I was cute. Yeah, now that I think about it, that's when it started. Anyway, after he told her that he thought I was cute, she got so upset. She came to me and she was like, I think it's funny that he would even think you're cute. Pardon? Like, that's a little mean, isn't it? Honestly, I was really sad about this. As I mentioned, I looked up to her. I could care less about what he thinks, right? But I cared a lot about her opinion. And so like for her to be like essentially making me feel like she thinks I'm ugly, yeah, that was just honestly a really mean thing to do. And this is another part of why you should be more selective of your friends, because their opinions of you will matter to you. So you want to be around people who will uplift you. And it wasn't just in that area that she tried to compete with her friends. Like, she was set on going to law school, but then as soon as I mentioned that I wanted to go into the medical field, which is not even what I wanted actually, it's what my parents wanted, but as soon as I mentioned that, she was all of a sudden like, I think I'm gonna do that too. And if you've ever dealt with a friend like this, you know how exhausting it is. These types of friends will never actually support you in anything, because they're always in a secret competition with you and secretly trying to one-up you in everything you do. Anyway, I do have to say, I think this girl was beyond just a pick-me. She was deeply insecure, and unfortunately she couldn't see all of the blessings in her life and could only see what she was missing, and so that's why she was always competing with people. Thanks to this girl though, I have really specific standards for friends now, and I know the red flags to look out for. So I'm gonna tell you exactly what I cannot stand in a friend now. Number one is if they center men in their life. I'm fine with girls who love hanging out with their boyfriends. Like, if you are in a happy relationship and you guys are doing well, that's good. I'm happy for you. I'm talking about girls who have to humiliate their friends whenever they're around a guy. Like, they just love bringing down other people to make themselves look better. This is not necessarily just when you're around guys, but it's like the easiest to detect when you're around guys, because then you can tell like they really prioritize the male gaze. Next is girls who view their friends as competition. I can't do it. Some people might consider it as like a good thing because it's like you guys are pushing each other forward, like healthy competition. No. You should not be competing with your friends. If you're competing with your friends, you will never be happy for their successes, and I don't want a friendship like that. And then one thing that I didn't really touch up on is I only really get along with people who are considerate and self-aware. I'm very kachio is what it's called in Vietnamese. I think it directly translates to like difficult, but it more so means like particular. I notice little things that people do, and I do really read into people's intentions with how they act. This is the Hourglass Shape and Sculpt lip liner in Flaunt 2, which actually, are you one of those people who like, if somebody wrongs one of your friends, you will cut off the other person immediately? I'm of the mindset that like, if you know both parties equally, like they're on the same level of acquaintance or friend, you don't have to cut them off. Like, you don't owe them any loyalty. But if it's like a close friend and then a stranger that did something to them, then yes, you cut them off. Because this has happened before where like two of my acquaintances got into an argument, and then one of them reached out first and was like, hey, you need to cut this person off. And then the other person reaches out with their side of the story, and then it's just so messy. Now that I think about it, I feel like my threshold for social interaction is limited to having 2 close friends. Like, consistently throughout my life, that's the maximum amount of friends I can have at a time. I think I just don't have the social bandwidth to make plans with more than 2 people throughout a month. Anyway, I wasn't expecting this entire get ready with me to be a rant about that girl, but she literally traumatized me. Even to this day, this happened all in high school, by the way. And even to this day, I still refer to her when I'm talking to my sisters about things. Like, I'll be like, oh my God, that reminded me of A. But yeah, at the level of man-hating that I am, I just think I could not connect with a girl who centers men in her life. Do we like this lip combo? I feel like it needs to be a little bit darker. Let's try the YSL Candy Glaze in 14. I really like this shade, but it might be too cool toned for me now. Yes, I think that's the perfect amount of brown. So apply a little bit of bronzer here. And this is my final everyday go-to makeup routine. Thank you so much for watching and getting ready with me. If you like this video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!